thousands of people have mysteriously vanished in America's wilderness. Join us as we dive into the deep end of the unexplainable and try to piece together what happened. You are listening to Locations Unknown. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Locations Unknown. I'm your co-host, Joe Irado, and with me, as always, is a guy who can breathe underwater, Mike Vandebogart.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you once again to all of our amazing listeners for tuning in. Just a quick couple announcements before we get going. New Patreon shout-outs to April Dwyer, Chris Baltz, Jamie Holmes, Hannah Bolton, Allison Strickland, Dave Nolan, and Nicole Greenwood. So thank you for supporting the show.
Yes, thank you very much.
We've always said it, but you guys are the reason why we continue to improve our equipment and grow the way we're growing. Special episode suggestion shout out to Saf Cooper for suggesting this episode, so thank you. If you want to call the show, you can call 208-391-6913 and leave a voicemail. We always say if the funnier or the meaner, the better, and more likely we'll air it. So
yeah, and if you didn't sign up for Patreon and listen to the last one, they were absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
We get a lot of weird ones.
Very weird ones, so you're missing out there by
Yeah,
not.
one requested pictures of my butt with jeans on.
Yeah, so it's getting weird. So you can also support us through many other ways. We have YouTube memberships soon. We're temporarily paused there. Premium subscriptions on Apple. Premium subscriptions on Spreaker.
Oh, so subscriptions aren't working on YouTube either because we're of the suspension?
No, people can still subscribe. They just
okay.
Our premium stuff is on hold.
Okay.
And then we have stores on Facebook and our website. We'll be getting a new website soon, so that's exciting. Also, part of Unknown Media Group, we had a new show launch day with the Weirdos We Know. So there'll be a link to it in the show notes. It's a super fun show. You should go check it out.
It's for 18 plus.
Yeah.
It's not a family listen.
Not a family listen.
It's about the interesting and mostly secret lives of history's most notable figures, basically.
Yeah, and it comes from the creator that used to do the Luminal True Crime podcast that was a pretty popular show. So check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. We also, Off the Trails is another great true crime show within the Unknown Media family.
Yeah, and they post more than we do. So while you're waiting for our episodes to come out, definitely go listen to Off the Trails.
Yeah, they're a great podcast. And when you can't get a new episode from us, they're probably posting twice as often.
Yeah.
So anything else from you, Joe?
Let me think. Oh, for all the people who keep applying for the position of researcher, we are still going through the process, but we are not accepting new applications. I've been getting them like a couple times a week.
Oh, really?
Still. Yeah, so we are no longer accepting applications. I am saving all of those in case we open up hiring later, but we're not currently hiring anymore. But thank you to all those that applied. We're so close to finalizing this, but that is it.
Awesome.
All right, everybody, let's gear up and get out to explore Locations Unknown. September 11th, 2005. An experienced outdoorsman and hunter is awarded a limited entry permit to hunt sheep in the Spatsizi Plateau Wilderness Provincial Park. He planned a 10-day hunt and brought enough supplies for an additional 10 days if needed. When he did not return, his wife alerted authorities and the search began. Join us this week as we investigate the disappearance of Tom Leonard.
It was already 0 for 1.
I know. And
Right off
we
the bat.
practiced. You know what? It's worse when we practice. We can't do anything here. Spatsizi. I don't even know why I said Spatsizi.
Yeah.
I'm Italian, so I was kind of putting an Italian ring to it, and I still couldn't get it. So the Spatsizi Plateau Wilderness Provincial Park is in British Columbia, so we're going to Canada for this one. It is 2,728 square miles. It's one of the largest roadless parks in British Columbia. It's about a 2,600-mile drive, or 40 to 45 hours from Milwaukee.
I don't know why I put that in there. For some reason,
I think that's good to know. We're like kind of in the center. I mean, we're the north, but center of the country.
It's just really far away.
It's super far away.
So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a 2-day drive if you go straight through just to get there.
Yeah.
That's wild.
No stopping to even go to the bathroom. Just right straight there.
Yes.
But yeah.
So the sublocation, because it's such a big park, the sublocation is the Eagle Nest Trailhead, and it was established in 1975 and sees roughly a staggering of 100 to 200 visitors per year.
Yeah.
It is literally in the middle of nowhere. I'm not going to say the full name anymore because it's a mouthful. I'll just keep saying Spatsizi. So Spatsizi receives relatively few visitors due to its remote location and difficult accessibility. Estimates suggest that it receives only 100 or 200 per year, mostly experienced hikers, anglers, and hunters seeking solitude in the backcountry. Due to the lack of formal visitor tracking, these numbers can vary and may not be officially recorded in detail. I'm guessing that's an over or under of like 5 people. Like if it's missing people, if it's that far away.
It's very remote and rugged, and there's some videos we'll play later of some drone footage from the search, and you can just see it's more remote than anything we have in the U.S.
Yeah.
Other than maybe in Alaska.
I would love to go there.
Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit about the habitation history of the Spatsizi. It's rich with indigenous heritage, primarily centered around the Tahitian First Nation.
I don't think that's an I. I think that's an L.
Oh. I'm going to use
Talton First Nation?
Talton First Nation.
Yeah.
Dang it, I was being so good on it. The name Spatsizi, meaning is the land of the red goat, reflects their long-standing connection to the region, where the Tahaltan people use the area for hunting, fishing, and trading. Or it's like Talton, Tahltan, Talton.
We looked up the park name, but not that one.
Yeah. I thought I had it right. That's why. They hunted mountain goats, caribou, moose, and other game, and the land was also important for the inter-community trade between indigenous groups like the Tlingit and the Casca and the Sekanai. I'm so bad at these. We get in so much trouble every time. We never get better. In early 20th century, the region saw activity related to the fur trade, with the Highland brothers establishing trading posts along the Spatsizi and Stikine rivers. In the mid-20th century, Tommy Walker, a guide outfitter, advocated for the area's preservation after recognizing its exceptional wildlife populations. Now, I'm never against preserving land, but I feel like that's one you almost don't even need to preserve.
It's just so hard to get to
nobody's
anyways.
going there.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, sure, we'll preserve it. All right, like wave the wand, and like, there you go. We're not even going to track you.
Yeah.
His conservation efforts contributed to the eventual creation of the Spatsizi Plateau Wilderness Provincial Park, 1975. The park remains culturally significant to the indigenous people, and their historical trails and village sites have been preserved, reflecting the ongoing importance of the land for traditional practices. That's really cool because they live there, and it's mostly untouched.
Yeah.
Like now, even in our national parks, like it's a small chunk of a much larger area that's like inhabited now and has cities.
Yeah.
This is probably still like as it was.
Yeah, I mean, you got very few parks in the U.S. that I would say probably just in Alaska that are to the scale of remoteness like this.
Yeah.
Denali and
no one ever went there.
Yeah.
So some interesting facts about America's Hat, Canada. It has the largest moose population in the world.
Shocking.
I was going to say, I don't know how interesting this is, but it estimates in excess of 1 million moose.
That's a lot of moose.
That's a lot of moose. And they're so dangerous. If you hit them on the freeway, like it's no good because they're so tall. They come right through the windshield.
Worse than a 2,000-pound cow?
Yep, worse than a cow because that one didn't come through my windshield. Gosh. That was a good life lesson for my children of how you cannot panic and freak out in one of the worst situations you could be in.
Yeah.
I was like, I got to make this a fun time for them or they'll be damaged forever. All right, anyway, now I'm done with that PTSD. The magnetic hill looks like it defies gravity. Located in Moncton, New Brunswick, the famous quote-unquote magnetic hill is a truly unique tourist attraction. This intriguing spot creates an optical illusion that gives the impression of cars rolling uphill on their own. I don't even know what that means.
You might have to look that up while I'm talking later.
Yeah.
I kind of want to see that.
You want to take it from here real quick, and I'll look it up while you're doing that?
So next interesting fact.
I just need to see this.
Basketball was born in Canada. So basketball, now obviously a global sport, was created by James Naismith, a Canadian, in 1891. The first game of basketball used a soccer ball and 2 peach baskets as equipment, unlike modern gear used today. This is an interesting one. Canada still has a monarchy. Canada maintains a strong historical connection to its former colonizer, the United Kingdom, through shared royal bonds. The current UK monarch also serves as the monarch of Canada in a primarily symbolic role. So Canada only recently declared its independence in 1982. Oh, here we go.
Just keep going. I'm going to scan it first.
Okay. So prior to this, Canada was still under British rule for legal and constitutional matters on April 17, 1982, which is now known as Constitution Day. Queen Elizabeth II signed the Constitution Act into law.
And then we're supposed to take our foot off the brake.
The telephone was invented in Canada. So Alexander
and now we're going to go into neutral.
An immigrant from Scotland living in Brantford, Ontario,
and then we're supposed to take our foot off the brake.
Recognized as the inventor of the telephone
and
in
then we're going to go.
And obviously
we're going to go backwards.
Revolutionized the world.
Okay.
So, all right, what are we looking at
avoid
here?
braking, she said. So we're going to go about
nothing.
10 kilometers.
I mean, it could be this guy's video. So I didn't do sound yet, but let's play this.
And then we're going to put it in neutral as the employee of Magnetic Hill instructed. We're going to go to the left side.
Thrilling stuff.
All right, so now we're at the post.
So he's driving his car. He's parking on the left side of the road.
Now we're going to go into neutral.
He's putting it in neutral. And we're going to watch.
And then we're supposed to take our foot off the brake at the post. And then we're going to go... we're going to go backwards. Okay. Avoid braking, she said. So we're going to go about 10 kilometers an hour here. It's a little scary, but... All right, so we're gaining traction. We're gaining speed. We're trying to steer. We're trying not to go into the ditch. I don't often go in reverse at this speed, so... We're going to go. We're getting to the top of the hill, and we're almost there. We're almost to the employee. We're hopefully not going to take out anybody. And all right, we're back.
All right.
Okay, so what's the scoop?
Well, what do you think it is?
Oh, did you know? Hold on.
All right, so the speed. So. We're going.
It looks like it's uphill.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah, it rolled uphill.
Yeah. Didn't you read the notes?
I know, but I didn't understand what they meant by it.
Okay.
Like he's at the bottom of a hill and it looks like he rolls upward. That's weird. Okay. That was a huge waste of time. We're not doing that again. And you know what? I wasn't even showing the screen. So even people watching the video won't even see it. Now I am, but okay.
All right. Well, so you're into climate now.
We'll edit it out later.
No, we won't.
There we go. We reversed roles. All right. Anyway, are you like clicked on the spot? No.
I am now.
Thank you. All right. Let's go to an in-depth description of climate. People are going to be so mad about that. It's too bad. The Spatsizi Plateaus has a subarctic climate. It's typical of the northern British Columbia, characterized by long, cold winters and short, cool summers. Basically, anything you'd imagine for northern Canada. Just probably snowy most of the year and chilly. Winter is November to March. The plateau and the surrounding mountains are covered in snow, making travel extremely challenging. The region is often under snow cover from November to late April. That's wild.
Yeah.
Winter is cold there. Minimum temperatures range from negative 20 Celsius to 30. That's negative 4 degrees to negative 22 degrees Fahrenheit. Extreme lows occasionally can occur and dip below negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit, which is also negative 40 degrees Celsius. All right. That's a fun fact now to remember.
Yeah.
Negative 40 Celsius is negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit, exactly. Precipitation is generally low in winter, mostly falling as snow. The park can see about 30 to 50 centimeters or 12 to 20 inches of snowfall in the winter months. Through deeper snow may accumulate in valleys.
Now, that doesn't seem like that much.
It actually does not. I'm surprised by that.
Maybe it's just so cold.
Yeah.
It doesn't snow as much.
Spring, April to June, landscape begins to thaw and wildlife becomes more active. However, trails can be muddy and lingering snow may make hiking and other activities difficult in early spring. When spring comes, late temperatures slowly rising from 14 degrees to 50 degrees by May and June. Nighttime temperatures can still drop below freezing well into May. Spring is one of the wettest seasons, and thawing snow contributes to the flow of rivers and streams. Rainfall in the spring can range from 1 to 2 inches per month. Yeah, it doesn't seem like a lot at all.
Yeah.
Summer, July to August. It's the most popular season for all 200 of the visitors. So they're all going to be out there. Mosquitoes are quite active, and I've heard this before that if you get caught in like an Alaskan mosquito swarm, it is like unbearable.
Yeah.
Like they're like fog. You can't see through them. I was talking, there's a family member in her family that was up in Alaska during it.
When we were there, the mosquitoes, we didn't have a problem with any mosquitoes.
It's a very small window.
Yeah, we were there in September.
They're like insane.
Yeah.
Within that window. Summers are very short. With daytime highs around 59 to 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Nighttime temperatures can still drop close to freezing with lows of 41 to 50. And summer is relatively dry with rainfall averaging only an inch, 1.2 inches to 2.4 inches per month. And thunderstorms are pretty infrequent. So the last season, fall. Apparently stunning foliage, if you can imagine, with all that untouched land.
Yeah.
Particularly dwarf birch and aspen turning shades of red and yellow by late October. That'd be amazing. Like a whole mountainside of aspen trees.
Yeah.
Changing. Fall brings the rapidly cooling temperatures of 41 degrees to 50, dropping to 23 degrees and 41 degrees by October. Fall is another wet season with average monthly rainfall about 1.5 to 2.7 inches. And snow can begin to fall in October, especially at high elevations. So some of the terrain that you'll encounter when you're out there is super rugged, which if you're a backcountry hiker, this is exactly what you want to go through. It's tough, but it's unmatched views. So it's mixed by a defined high plateaus, rolling tundra, steep valleys, rugged mountain ranges, lakes, and meandering rivers. So meandering rivers, I said livers. I'm having a rough time.
You are.
But it's just like every image. Did you ever see the movie, what is it called, The Edge, with the bear?
Long time ago. It's an older movie, right?
That's, where they fly in and they get attacked by a bear that's stalking them. I think it's called,
maybe I haven't seen
it's
that.
called The Edge. I'll look it up.
It's not Baronado.
No, it's not Baronado. Okay. Nothing can touch Baronado. I just think of that, just complete vastness. You're not going to accidentally run into anything because it's impossible.
Yeah.
The park's high plateaus dominate much of the terrain, reaching elevations of 1,200 to 1,800 meters or 3,900 to 5,900 feet. The park contains several mountain ranges, including Mount Will and Nation Peak, which create dramatic elevation changes, steep valleys, and are cut by the Stikine and Spatsizi rivers, offering breathtaking but challenging routes. So the types of dangers, the biggest one is bears, as expected. There's going to be moose, all the other cats that you can imagine, and wolves. So,
the part of the notes got deleted, it looks like.
Yep. I already knew those other ones. So I'm sure there's some more stuff, but it's not in here.
No, it's kind of mixed into the next section.
Okay. So tips for hiking safety. The high elevation can cause rapid changes in weather with sudden drops in temperature and storms. Additionally, exposure plateaus offer little shelter from the wind and can be difficult to navigate, especially when snow-covered. Hikers should be prepared for high winds, and navigational skills are essential as trails are often unmarked or only lightly maintained. So you want to be carrying proper maps, GPS, and weather-resistant gear is critical for safety. Yeah, this is the place I'd go all out for everything.
Yeah.
SOS beacons, the whole deal.
Well, there's no infrastructure in the park, so you literally have to bring everything.
Yeah.
So
get the satellite SOS with the texting capability.
Yeah.
It's incredibly cheap to rent if you're going to be out there for a while. Steep mountain ranges and rugged valleys. For those, the rocky terrain can make for slow and difficult travel. Descending and ascending into the valley requires careful route planning, especially when crossing rivers. Hikers should expect challenging conditions, and including steep ascents, the river crossings, unpredictable weather, remoteness of it all, and it lacks infrastructure at all, as you said. So you have to carry literally everything and be prepared for total self-reliance. I can't even imagine what the timing it would take to get rescued. It'd probably be hours, if not days.
Yeah, I don't know. It would.
So
yeah.
The rivers, and we always talk about this. I'm not going to go too deep in here. You want to have the right footwear because you're going to be getting wet, but also you need to be very careful when doing your river crossings. That is sometimes the most dangerous, especially in that situation. You want to unhook all of your gear, get across so you don't get swept downstream. Wildlife presence. Hiking in wilderness requires being bear aware and taking appropriate precautions, such as carrying bear spray and storing food securely. Hikers need to be vigilant in remote areas, particularly around rivers with berry-rich zones, which attract wildlife. Last time I was in Glacier, we camped in a berry patch. The camping site was literally surrounded by raspberry patches.
Yeah, well.
It was insane. All right. Overall, hikers should expect extremely challenging conditions, steep ascents, river crossings, unpredictable weather, all the things we said before, because it's just you're literally on your own.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty crazy place. I want to go there. All right. Let's learn about Tom, Mike.
Yeah, so subject to today's case is Tom Leonard. He was born in 1965. He went missing on September 11th of 2005. His remains have still not been found. He was a male. Gear he was last seen in, so all of his clothing was camouflage, including his jacket, pants, and hat, which does not help when you're searching for someone. His camouflage clothing also included earth tones, further blending him into the rugged environment. He had a camouflage backpack to carry his supplies for the trip. He was carrying a brown tent, which was later reported to be part of an old camp found in the Rams Creek area by a hunter in 2013. Tom had enough food and supplies for the first 10 days of his trip, and he had left another 10 days worth of supplies in his truck near the Eagle Nest trailhead, which he had planned to retrieve mid-hunt. So his hunt really was going to be about 21 days. He also brought along his red Honda Quad, which he transported on the back of his 1997 black GM truck. The quad could have potentially been used for reaching more remote areas within the park. So personality, very passionate about the wilderness. He, from all accounts, he was very experienced. He was also a very family-orientated man who loved spending time with his wife, Tammy, and daughters, Miranda and Chamra. He would always return from his
You know what you said, right?
Hey.
There's so many people that are going to be so happy that you did that. There's more fans of the way you say disoriented and oriented than there are people that hate you for saying it wrong.
Let's not throw stones in a glass house. You've been riding the struggle bus of speaking tonight.
So anyway, and the funny thing is the way you were saying it is acceptable. It just nobody likes it.
No.
Okay, go on.
Let me gather myself here.
Yeah.
He would always return from his outdoor trips excited to be with them. So family man, very, very passionate about the wilderness, experienced in the outdoors. He was a very avid hunter, fisher. He's been doing this from a very young age, and it's what helped develop his skills for navigating and surviving in rugged environments like this. He apparently trained for months before this 2005 trip, so that suggests that he understood the physical and logistical challenges that he was going to face hunting in a place like this. So he was very well prepared as far as
he knew what he was doing.
Everything from his gear to his physical preparedness. I mean, this guy was prepared to hunt in this location, which is really what you'd have to do to go to a place like this.
Yeah, it'd just be suicide otherwise.
Yeah, it's one of the most remote and unforgiving places you could probably hunt in North America. I mean, I'm sure there's others in Canada, but I mean, everything I've read about this one, it sounds intense.
Yes.
So, his trip to Spatsizi was described as a dream hunt, indicating that he had pursued this hunt for many years, and they only give out a couple permits, so he didn't want to waste the opportunity. So that's part of the reason why he trained for so long for this hunt. And like I said, he had a lot of experience in navigating and surviving in remote areas. Experience in this location. So he was familiar with this location. However, we never had specific information on if he had been to this exact location before his disappearance. So we don't know if he specifically was here, but we know that he obviously, trained for many months to hunt here. So he was aware of, the location and the dangers and everything. So very experienced. One of the few cases where the person that we're covering shouldn't have gone missing based on just experience and preparation and things like that. So we'll jump right into the timeline. So it's early September.
It's not even showing up on all trails, like the park.
Oh,
it doesn't even exist on there.
I mean, try the whole.
I'll go to Google Earth. You can keep going.
Yeah, the whole name Provincial.
I put in the whole thing.
Okay.
Wait, it's called Prevent. Oh yeah, I put all that stuff in. Yep. All right, keep going.
Okay, so early September 2005. This is kind of when he started preparing for the trip. Like we said, he was awarded a limited entry permit for a sheep hunt in the park. Like we said, it's one of the largest and most remote parks in Canada. And he obviously spent months training for it. So Tom's plan was to hike into the park for a 10-day hunt, then return to his truck for food and supplies. He had left another 10 days worth of food in his truck in case he extended his hunt. However, he hadn't specified to his family which route he would take or which loop he planned to follow. We do have one last known photo of Tom that was taken just a few days before his disappearance. It was taken during a family camping trip about 2 weeks before he left for the hunt. It's now September 10th of 2005. Tom packed his gear into his 1997 black GM truck and loaded his red Honda quad before heading off to the park. He made a stop in Smithers to pick up some additional gear and then spent the night at the Tatoga Lake Resort. The following day, on September 11th, 2005, Tom left the resort and drove 51 kilometers to the Eagle Nest Trailhead, where he parked his truck, signed in, and began his hunting trip. This was the last confirmed sighting of Tom. So we know that he was at the trailhead because he signed it. So that's more than some cases where we don't.
Yeah, you're not even sure if they even got there.
Yeah. So it's safe to say that he made it to the trailhead. So did you find it on Google?
Yeah, and so I'm zooming out. So if you're watching the video right now, I'm actually showing the screen now. I have not seen civilization yet.
Yeah, I keep zooming out.
Holy cow. I mean, there's a city right there. There's nothing around. Are those cities? Or it's like...
Yeah, that might be the resort he talked about. Yeah.
It's like there's one road and there's a couple houses like in between these.
Yeah.
Thought there was a golf course at first. I was looking at me like, of course.
Yeah, right.
Right in the middle of all this nothing, someone built a golf course. This is wild.
That's remote. And vast. I mean, it's crazy.
That's man, yeah, you are on your own.
Yeah.
Jeez.
So, like I said, we do have confirmation that Tom made it to the trailhead, so that would be the last confirmed sighting of Tom. So, he was expected to return on October 2nd, 2005, but when he didn't show up or contact his family, Tammy, his wife, knew something was wrong. She immediately contacted the, law enforcement at midnight on October 3rd. Law enforcement initially downplayed her concerns, suggesting that Tom's truck may have broken down. However, they quickly mobilized local patrols to search for his vehicle. So, pretty almost immediately after the report was filed, they located his truck parked at the trailhead. So, Tammy asked them to check the truck to see if extra food was still inside. So, on October 4th, law enforcement broke into the truck and confirmed that the food was untouched, indicating that Tom had not returned to his truck as planned after the first 10 days. Also, on October 4th, law enforcement launched a search and rescue operation deploying ground teams into the park. By October 5th, air support was brought in and search teams from various locations, including Vanderhoof, Whitehorse, Smithers, Terrace, and Quesnel, joined the effort. By October 6th of 2005, 6 to 7 teams were deployed to search for Tom, and a RCMP helicopter with a forward-looking infrared radar device was used to detect body heat, but didn't find anything. So October 7th, they brought in ground teams with dog handlers, and helicopters continued searching. On October 8th, unfortunately, poor weather conditions led to the search being called off. The RCMP informed Tammy that a recovery operation would be planned for the spring if weather permitted.
So we're, just for people who are watching, we're looking at photos of the search and rescue team and drone footage of the area. They're walking through brush that's up to their heads.
Yeah.
And like surrounding them. It's definitely an intense area.
It reminds me a lot of the Canadian Rockies when I hiked there years and years ago.
Yeah, we were up in Banff area in Jasper. And that felt super remote.
Yeah.
But you're still felt like you're kind of in a park.
Yeah.
This is just it seems like they're just getting dropped off in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, the only way into the heart of the park is float plane or, multi-day hike. So it's that remote. Can't stress it enough. Yeah. I don't think, people go hiking in the U.S. and Glacier, Yellowstone, Yosemite, that's remote light. This is pro remote.
Yeah, 100%. It's beautiful.
Yeah. It would be so cool to hike there, but the planning you'd have to do.
Oh, we're totally doing it.
Yeah.
We'd be able to make it happen.
Yeah, or we'd have to be on our own show. So the interesting thing about this case is the search never has really stopped. So from 2005 through 2022, they've continued searching for him, which is amazing because we don't have a lot of cases where the search has continued like that. So I have the search broken into kind of pieces. So the next section of searching between 2006 and 2013. So in June 2006, a week-long voluntary search involving 31 family members, friends, and qualified volunteers took place. This included conservation officers, first responders, and even a cadaver dog. However, despite their efforts, no clues were found due to bad weather. In July 2006, the RCMP planned a 5-day air search, but they were only able to search for 1 day due to poor weather conditions again, and nothing was found. During the 2007-2008 time period, Tom's father-in-law and other family members returned to the park to search specific areas, but they were again unsuccessful. So now in the 2013 to 2019 time period, we had a couple of situations where potential new leads were uncovered in the case. So the first one was in 2013, a hunter stumbled upon an old camp in the Rams Creek area. He found a brown tent, blue jeans, and a white t-shirt that appeared to have been there for years. The hunter didn't initially connect this camp to Tom's disappearance. So then again in 2017, after seeing a social media post by Tammy, the hunter realized the camp might belong to Tom. Unfortunately, the information did not reach the family until 2019 when the hunter reached out to the family member who finally passed the details on to RCMP. So
they sent it Pony Express through this whole park.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, it would have been nice if that hunter had reported that, back in 2013 instead of letting almost another, decade go by. But it is what it is. So again, and these leads didn't lead to anything being discovered. So we're now in the time period of 2020 to 2021. So in 2020, the RCMP planned to investigate the camp, but the road leading to the trailhead was washed out and a helicopter was unavailable due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In 2021, BC Parks was supposed to search the camp, but due to staffing shortages, the investigation was again delayed. The family was informed that the search might happen in 2022. So the camp was found in 2013.
They just had the track from their bushwhacking. You know how miserable that would be?
Yeah.
That's insane to cover all that.
Yeah.
Going through those oh man. Good for them. That's not easy.
But it's kind of sad. This camp that was discovered in 2013 wasn't reported until 2019, wasn't potentially searched until 2022. Almost a decade later.
That's how remote it is.
Yeah, I guess.
That's wild.
So in August 2021, Joey Provost, a terrorist search and rescue member and an avid hunter, became involved in the search for Tom after watching a YouTube video created by Tom's daughter, Miranda. The video highlighted the emotional toll on the family and their desperate plea for help. After being moved by the video, Joey and his team at Terrorist Search and Rescue organized a renewed search in August 2021. Despite using helicopters, drones, and boots on the ground, the team was unable to find Tom or his gear. The rugged terrain, dense undergrowth, and remote location made the search extremely difficult. Joey explained that finding a collapsed tent or personal items like a backpack or rifle remained a realistic possibility, but even those items were elusive. So the last update was in 2022. They were potentially going to plan another large-scale search and rescue operation through the Terrorist Search and Rescue Organization. They were planning to bring about 30 to 60 people, and they raised $2,300 for the search, and a GoFundMe raised another $8,300. So for cover the costs from some of the previous searches, but to this day, nothing has been recovered other than his truck and the food that was left inside. And one of the main themes throughout the decade plus of searching was weather. Weather during the initial search, weather during the subsequent searches was all really bad. So the weather during the initial search was incredibly unfavorable, with significant rain that affected the early stages of the search and kept helicopters on the ground. And due to the remoteness, that you just can't risk, searching in conditions like that, a place that remote. So
yeah, absolutely.
the weather really hampered a lot of the search. So jumping into theories, I'll go through kind of what law enforcement thinks might have happened, and then a little bit about what family happens, and then I'll open the floor to you.
I'm just going to say right out of the gate, now I believe Bigfoot could be real a little bit more.
Really? That didn't come up in any of the law enforcement theories.
The law enforcement didn't put it on Bigfoot?
No.
No.
So
that's definitely going to be my off the deep end spoiler.
Yeah. Okay, well, you should have held that to the end.
I know, right?
So law enforcement did not provide a definitive theory about what happened to Tom, largely due to the lack of evidence and the challenging conditions in the park. However, based on available information, they lean towards a few potential scenarios. The first one was an accident in rugged terrain. That's kind of a given. So due to the remoteness and difficult terrain of the park, it's possible that Tom could have suffered an accident such as a fall or injury while hiking or hunting. The park is known for steep mountains, thick forests, and challenging weather. This would also make it difficult to recover any gear or remains. Natural causes was another possible theory they came up with. It's possible that Tom succumbed to natural causes such as hypothermia, exhaustion, or a medical emergency while on his hunting trip. Despite being an experienced outdoorsman, the harsh conditions of the park could have overwhelmed him, especially since his camouflage gear made it harder for searchers to locate him. And then the other thing is that there's just they're having a difficult time locating any of the evidence. So law enforcement and search and rescue teams have not have noted the difficulty of locating Tom due to the size of the park and his use of camouflage gear, which would blend in with the environment. So that's kind of what law enforcement is leaning towards. I think they're, accident coupled with just all of his gear being perfectly camouflaged for the environment makes finding anything incredibly difficult. Family believes that he most likely had an accident in the wilderness, but they continue to hope for a breakthrough, maybe in finding remains or some of his gear. So besides your Bigfoot theory, what's your most plausible after seeing the terrain?
I think if he's hunting, what he's hunting could be up on some hard to get to areas, sides of mountains, and they talk about how it's like that rocky terrain. So if it's not bushwhacking somewhere, then you're on loose scree or things like that.
Cliff edge.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's got to be some sort of accident. It has to be.
Yeah.
I think with his experience in that area, you can't not know how to navigate and do it regularly.
Yeah.
So
I think
I feel like he probably knew where he was going, knew where he was, all that. It had to have been some sort of accident. That's the only thing that makes sense to me logically.
Yeah, and you're not going to find remains with all that camouflage gear and earth tone.
I mean, how hard is it for them to find remains in small parks that aren't that thick?
Yeah.
It's so difficult. Here, it's like needle in a stack of needles in a stack of needles in a stack of needles.
Yeah, I mean, you should really
in
go,
space.
You should hike with like blaze orange. Like
even then.
Yeah.
Like that's insane.
Yeah.
This is where like getting that forward facing the FLIR for heat signals. I mean, that's only going to matter like within like the first day or two.
So you've got the river park. Is this all part of the larger park?
Yeah.
So Spatsizi, if you zoom out.
Yeah, this is because this is the river that they keep. Spatsizi, the center of it was this plateau.
Okay.
So these
there
are
it is down there. The sign.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's like a huge area. So it's just all of this. But I mean, it's all the same.
Now zoom farther out just to I want to get a relation to like what are some big cities, within I guess like Seattle and Portland would be at some point south.
I mean, we're out to where we can see, I don't know, like here's Juneau, Alaska.
Yeah.
Here, Ketchikan,
yeah.
Or
if you go south, you're going to hit the U.S.
Ketchikan, yeah. And then Vancouver, way at the bottom.
Yeah, way down there. Okay.
Otherwise, there's like, I know there is like here, like Houston. But like when you zoom into these little towns, that's the biggest one. It looks like just a small city in Wisconsin.
Yeah. No, it's remote.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think...
Like, what is the industry? Like, what's happening?
Probably a lot of...
like mining or... Yeah, it's got to be.
Yeah.
That's wild.
You're not too far from Alaska at that point.
Yeah, because that tail comes down.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like a wilderness area the size of Washington State. If you look at Washington, it's almost as big as like the state of Washington.
It's like
there's like
it's like the British Columbia,
And there's like a road.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like the size of California.
Like think of it that way.
Look at California compared to that province.
Oh, California is much smaller. It might be the same length.
Yeah. It's like the whole west coast of the U.S.
Yeah.
If just super rugged, remote terrain.
Yeah, but imagine if Washington State had just like a single highway that went through the middle of it.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what like the level of remote it is with like little mountain towns along that one road.
Yeah.
So I could be overselling it a little bit, but that's what it looks like from the satellite. So I think it's just an accident. Like, how do you live up there and not know how to navigate?
No, I think he prepared for months. I don't think
he prepared for months and knew the area.
Had the gear. Like, I don't think it was. I mean, it could have been a hypothermia situation, or anyone can get lost. But I think you're right. I think the animals he was hunting, maybe he got onto a spot that was maybe slippery, and he fell and injured himself, or passed away, and then due to his camouflage and what he was wearing,
Oh, yeah.
it would be impossible to find.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm with you on that one.
And I think the off the deep end's Bigfoot.
Bigfoot.
Because I always think, like, oh, they would have seen Bigfoot by now. Not up there.
If he lives up there, he might not.
There could be an entire city of them, and you might not be able to find it.
Yeah. I mean, North Dakota Ned should probably move up there with his Sasquatch wife.
Maybe that's where he's calling from.
Maybe.
Just because he's from North Dakota.
Montana Mike and
North Dakota, move up to BC.
For all those of you listening who have no idea what we're talking about,
Sign up for Patreon.
We've got 2 different guys married to Sasquatch women that call
Or at
the
least
show.
one of them
Yeah.
is married to Sasquatch that calls in, tells us about that and his Ford F-150.
Yeah. Pretty funny. So
We have a fan in the studio right now, and he's looking at us all weird.
yeah.
Matt, what's your theory?
Can I be heard if I talk?
Sure. Do it. Let's go off the rails. We say we wouldn't talk. Yeah, talking to that mic.
I think it was an accident.
Yeah. Is that
So
your
here's my-
that's your
No,
NPR
so-
voice?
Yeah.
You're listening to Milwaukee Public Radio.
So here's the follow-up question. If it's an accident, what happened? Did he fall, break a leg, couldn't move, just sat under a tree for 3 days and died?
Yeah.
Did he drown?
Something made him immobile.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a water thing.
Yeah, I don't think it's a water thing. I think, depending on how high he was, he may have just died on the fall. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see too much in the video that was like big drops. But I don't know where you hunt those, where you hunt the sheep.
yeah,
So.
I mean, even a broken leg in this terrain, like, I don't know, how long could you live if you're immobilized with, like, a broken leg? I mean, if you're not near a body of water, you're going to...
Or near your camp,
Yeah.
and it gets cold. It's cold and wet. Hypothermia comes in within half a day,
Yeah.
tops, if you're dressed appropriately.
If it's a bad enough break, it might have broken the skin. Now
Yep.
you've got, you're bleeding and... Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think he was immobilized and then couldn't get back to camp, and then you're like, time's up.
And, he could have gotten turned around, too.
I
And-
don't think so.
Yeah, I mean,
My gut tells me no.
No.
I feel like some like, I don't think animal, if he's hunting, he's going to be prepared to shoot.
Yeah.
He's got all the stuff to defend himself.
though we've seen videos of guys that are armed and get attacked by bears.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean...
The dudes on that boat,
Yeah.
when the cubs are coming out of the water in the river.
So, I mean, I don't think you
Yeah.
can... In this area of Canada, like, with all the bears, I don't think you can rule out animal attack.
I think accident.
Yeah, I think accidents most likely.
I think Matt's right.
Now, if you're injured, now that could be, you could open yourself up to animal issues
Sure.
if you're injured and immobile. But no, I think accident, and they
Just
haven't,
succumb to exposure.
they haven't found him just because of the vastness.
Yep.
And if there's only 200 people visiting the park every year, like, one of the things, the good things about our parks being busy down in the U.S. is that if someone goes missing, there's a decent chance that somebody at some point will find some of their gear or their remains.
Or you have at least one person like, oh, I think I hiked past that person because I was there that day. And
Yeah.
even in the remote parks, you kind of remember, like, when we were just in Colorado with the family and the weather was getting gnarly when we didn't summit Snowmass, and a couple of people were like, I'll go for it. And it was like late in the day.
Yeah.
Like, they weren't summiting. They're going to be summiting at like 4 or 5 p.m. And I literally was like, remember that person's face.
Yeah.
And I told her,
Yeah.
I'm serious, because if
Yeah.
if they don't report in, we might be the last people that saw him. We were 12 hours up the mountain in the middle of nowhere. Nobody's there.
Yeah.
And he's going up late, well beyond when you should be summiting. But the guy said he did like all the other 14ers except for like 3 of them. So I was like, all right, he knows what he's doing. I'm not going to tell him anything.
Yeah.
But I told Cassie, I'm like, remember that guy's face just in case.
Take a picture.
Every time we go places, someone goes missing or dies.
Yeah.
So, yep.
All right. Well, on that
the
positive
theory.
note, Joe's the Grim Reaper for
I know.
traveling.
Yeah, thanks again for tuning into our show. We appreciate all of you for listening and sharing locations unknown with your friends and family. Be sure to like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn, where I barely update anything. I still think it's hilarious I made a LinkedIn page for the show. You can find all the videos for each episode on YouTube. You can sign up for the subscriptions to get all the extra content and understand what we're talking about when we're talking about hilarious voice messages. Also, if you'd like to support the show monetarily, we do have some awesome swag on our Facebook store or through our website. And if you're a patron member, you get it shipped to you occasionally anyway. Lastly, when enjoying the beauty of nature, whether backpacking, camping, or simply taking a walk, always remember to leave no trace. Thanks, and we will see you all next time.